What was I gonna say? Shit, I was gonna say something. No, I totally forgot. At any rate, I think that, this is working a lot better, at any rate. Even playing a tank jungle, I feel like I have more impact in top lane. Honestly, the biggest issue with top lane, every top laner needs like 3 items before they start super duper hard carrying, and all their items are so expensive, you know? It means as a top laner, you don't even, like, you need to do more than just win your lane to carry, you know? I turn my camera on. Like, you need to win your lane and stall out the game and scale to win on a top laner. I think at 1 to 2 items, mid and bot will out carry you. I think top laners are pretty decent in the late game, if they have their items. Now, the biggest problem, probably, the biggest problem is that mages outscale you in addition to being better early and having a better laning phase and team fight. So that's why mages become such an issue in top lane. They beat you in the laning phase, then outscale you. It's kind of a problem. Anyone notice that Jace is getting banned again lately? I feel like they need to give more bruisers Jace-style mechanics, wherein they have dedicated, like, hard scaling shit that makes it impossible to tank them and makes it so that they, like, have to hard scale in a split push. Like, I think, for example, and I'm just gonna spitball here, so I don't think I'm actually saying this is what they should do. I'm just more giving you an example of, like, you know, a hypothetical. So I'm not saying this would be a good idea for Aatrox. I'm just using Aatrox as an example. If they let Aatrox's passive hit turrets, and then also gave his passive, like, 25% armor pen, something like that. So, like, he will kill tanks, and he will split push well, you know, something like that. Or how do I even top? How do I adjust this? I don't know how to. How do I do anything anymore? I don't know. How do I fucking do anything anymore? Like, how do I adjust this? Like, okay, this is, do I scroll down? Oh, that's fucking shit. This is awful. It's like the worst. Okay. So, okay, so something like, kind of like how they're making Garen's ult true percent health damage, so there's no way that a tank can just tank Garen, in addition to his E doing armor shred, something like that, you know? Just make it so every bruiser is kind of like Darius, where it's like, you can't tank them, they will kill you, they will destroy you 1v1, something like that. Do that for every bruiser to ensure that bruisers can't be stonewalled by tanks. Now, the problem then becomes, what do tanks do? Well, I feel, honestly, hear me out on this one. I think tanks are shit, bad for the game, and probably shouldn't exist. So, like, you can't choose, like, role or, like, class anymore? Like, role. So, like, if I choose role, can I choose, like, tank?
Surpass the frailty of your form.
This is so unbelievably shit, I don't even know what to say. This is awful. So, like, I can't even be like, tank. No. No. I have to scroll. This is fucking terrible. This is literally the worst. This is actually the worst. I feel like all tanks should basically be, like, I don't even know. Like the problem is tanks as a role have been outdated, I feel. Tanks don't exist in Modern League, and they're kind of shit for the game. They keep trying to bring them back, and people are just like, no thank you. Take a tank like Maokai, right? What really differentiates Maokai from Malphite? See, that's what frustrates me too, is tanks basically seem designed as the autofill top class. Are you autofilled to top lane? Then play a tank. Which neuters top's ability to carry, because they have a class that basically just makes themselves impossible to, kill. Basically, you just make a class where all they do is try to win lane against you while generally being unkillable. Then in a split push, they just sit under turret and do enough damage that you can't just kill the turret out from under them. And that's it. That's their entire class. Think about that. Think about how terrible for the game that is. It's literally the anti-top lane carry class at this point. I think they need to buff tank damage items. They need to drastically buff tank MR itemization. They need to give tanks itemization options against mages, which allow them to kill them. My opinion, I think Thornmail should be removed from the game. They should get a new item called, I don't fucking know, the Equalizer. Make it like 50 armor, 50 magic resist, 300 HP. Make it like the big tank item. Like the big item that tanks get in the mid game. Like their third purchase, right? Like 50 armor, 50 magic resist, 300 HP, 10% cooldown reduction. Anytime you're hit by an ability or attack, or anytime you take damage from another champion, dismember them for 2 seconds. 40% less shielding, 40% less healing. Something like that. Like the super duper Thornmail. Doesn't do damage on its own. Okay? Not like Thornmail. Doesn't do damage on its own. Just dismembers anyone who does damage to you. I think that would be the best way to make tanks relevant into the mid game without this bullshit where of like, oh, they have to win lane and then they must team fight well or they're useless. Anti-shield items would be terrible for the game. Terrible, terrible, terrible for the game. Anti-shield items would basically read, we now need to buff shields because they're all underpowered.